All right, so the week has finally come upon us where the new set is going to be released. It goes live in one day, and then the full game finally hits mobile on the 30th of April. I could not be more excited. But for now, we still just have these spoilers to, kind of curb our enthusiasm here. And first up, they released a ton over the weekend, but first up, we have Fizz. And we have basically Fizz level 1 and 2 and 6 cards centered around Fizz, one of which I imagine is his champion spell. Again, they didn't necessarily confirm it. Pretty good guess as to which one it might be. And we also have a new keyword. Again, they just keep rolling on these keywords. It's great. So very excited to get into that as well. If you're new to the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button. We're going to have a ton of content coming down the pipe this week and in the weeks to come after this set drops. But for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy these new Fizz cards. All right, so as always, we're going to save Fizz the champion for last, but for now, we're starting with Chum the Waters. So Chum the Waters is a 4-cost slow spell card, which also works with Fizz, and you'll see why in a little bit, which gives an enemy vulnerable and summons Longtooth. So a lot of the cards they revealed over the weekend are actually not cards. They're tokens or cards that are created from other cards. So these aren't cards that are obtainable within the set. That is what Longtooth is. So Longtooth is a 4-cost, 5-attack, 1 health with Overwhelm. So this is pretty cool. You're giving a unit vulnerable and then summoning a 5/1 Overwhelm. So ideally, you make something that has like 1 health vulnerable. You summon the 5/1 Overwhelm, and now you're doing a bunch of damage. I guess that's kind of in theory the idea. Personally, I don't think either of these are that great of cards. Although I will say Longtooth does remind me a little bit of like Heimer's turrets. I forget which one has the Overwhelm. I think it's the 6-cost turret that has it's a 6/1 Overwhelm. This is very similar to that. So I don't know. I don't think these cards are great, but you'll see how Fizz interacts with these in just a second. Playful Trickster. Okay. Now this card piques my interest. This is a 4-cost fast spell that in order to rally, you remove an attacking ally from combat. So I have a lot of questions with this card, right? It doesn't say that the ally is returned to play. So I'm assuming that when you remove your ally, you are just 100% not getting it back. I don't know. Then it just kind of seems like a really bad relentless pursuit. I'm not sure. If the ally comes back and it's more of like a recall type effect, or the ally gets removed from combat, you rally, you attack again, and then at the end of the turn, the ally comes back. That is very, very, very good. Now you can essentially negate a card that your opponent plays. Now, your opponent will still maintain buffs like Repost, so Repost is honestly not the best thing that you'd want to play this on. Same thing with like a Frostbite. If they Frostbite your guys, they're still going to be frostbitten for the second attack. This is great for anything that gets targeted. Let's say you're attacking, your unit gets targeted with Grasp of the Undying. You decide to play this, remove it from combat. It essentially negates the Grasp, and you get to rally again. So very, very interesting and useful card. Definitely probably the most used would be in an elusive deck, which again you'll see with Fizz in a second, with Fizz having elusive, and just definitely an interesting card. Very excited to start playing with this. All right, so next up we have a follower with the brand new keyword that I had mentioned, and that is Attune. And I do really quickly want to say too that the Playful Trickster that we just mentioned might just be Fizz's champion spell. Not positive, seems likely. Obviously, that's an ability that he has in League of Legends for you League of Legends players out there. But I digress. So let's get into Shell Shocker. Shell Shocker is a 1-cost follower, 2 attack, 1 health, and has the Attune effect. And Attune is this. When I'm summoned, refill 1 spell mana. Now that is summoned too. That's not a play effect or anything like that. So this can be summoned multiple times. Every time you summon it, you will get an additional spell mana to be refilled. So love this effect. For those of you longtime Runeterra players, you will look at this effect and go, that seems a little bit familiar. Yes, 100% right. Eager Apprentice. So Eager Apprentice was a 2 mana, 2 attack, 1 health follower that refilled 2 spell mana when summoned. So now they're just attaching a keyword to only refilling 1 spell mana. So definitely interesting. I did see some argument in the Reddit basically saying, well, why don't you make this like an Attune 1 or Attune 2 or Attune 3? I do think there is something to think about there. I do think that would be a pretty easy and interesting concept to put into the game. It also opens up the creative space a little bit to, make Attune different on multiple followers. So we'll see if that's the route they decide to go. For now, we just have Attune. And honestly, I think this card is okay. You are refilling 1 spell mana, so you're essentially getting a free 2/1 body. I've yet to see anything crazy that can be done with this card. Obviously now you have a 1-drop and a 2-drop in Eager Apprentice that can both refill spell mana. So it's interesting to see what kind of, early game curve comes out of that and what decks might be able to capitalize on having all that extra spell mana so early on in the game. And similar, we have Coral Creatures. This is a 2-cost, 1 attack, 2 health follower that also has Attune, but when he or she or it, or I don't really know what it is, when it gets summoned, you are also adding a random 1-cost spell to your hand. Now, interestingly enough, usually you say, okay, what's the probability of getting a crap 1-cost spell in your hand? Well, actually, if you look at the first set, there's only 18, which actually I say only, but that's a lot. There's 18 1-cost spells total, right? And only one of them, at least in my opinion anyways, is really something that won't at least be somewhat useful in any situation, and that is counterfeit copies. Now, and with that said, counterfeit copies could still be good, getting additional copies of some card that's just really good in your deck, right? But every other card has some sort of effect that's useful, whether it be a health potion to heal 3, an elixir of wrath to give you 3 attack, even ghost to give a unit elusive. Elusive matters, chain vest, now something has tough. All of those things matter and will have some sort of substance in the game. So most games you get random cards like that. It's like, man, this is really random. I'm to the RNG gods, I give thy trust. And it doesn't feel so much like that in this, because anything you get is really just going to be a tool to help you. You're not relying on that 1-cost spell necessarily to, do anything specific. You just know that it will be a useful tool in the future. And obviously any decks that use a lot of spells, this can also help with as well. All right, and the last card before Fizz is Bubble Bear. This is an interesting card. It's a 3-cost, 0 attack, 6 health follower with Attune and Elusive. It's just a very interesting card. It's basically, when it comes down to it, it's a 2-mana 0/6. So again, poor old Border Keep Lookout, with the 1 attack and 4 health, 2 cost. The stats just aren't really living up to the hype. This thing still outshines that with 6 health. It definitely can be a very, very good blocker against some aggro decks. So this could be a great anti-aggro tool. And again, it does also give you an extra spell mana. I think it's interesting that it's elusive, which means you can actually buff this up at some point and have it attack your opponent. So very interesting card for sure. Can't wait to see this get played in possibly some control-oriented decks. All right, and now we have Fizz, and once again, they nail the look and feel of a champion. So right on the surface, he's just a 1-cost, 2 attack, 1 health follower, right? And that's really not that great. But he is a champion, and he does have an effect, and that effect is when you play a spell, any spell, just 1 spell, Fizz becomes elusive and untargetable. That's pretty freaking good. The best thing about that is that even when somebody does try to target him and kill him, you can chain a spell afterwards, thereby also negating the spell. So I think this is, I don't know, I think it's a great card design. I think I love this card. I think I might hate this card when it starts to get played in maybe, I don't know, Ionia Elusive, because you can also get this out with the one, the only Kinku Wayfinder. So wow, talk about some 1-cost champ support. This does it. And Fizz's level up, which is after 6 spells are played, so definitely not too hard of a level up. Should be leveled up, hopefully by turn 3 or 4. He does gain an attack and a health, but every time he performs a Nexus Strike, kind of like an Ezreal effect or something like that, as he is elusive usually as well, he will get a Chum the Waters. Now, this is where I think Fizz falls off a little bit. Yeah, he's still a pretty cool, 1-cost, 3 attack, 2 health, champ that's going to chill on the board pretty much all game. for the most part. The Chum the Waters, I don't really think overall is a great card. Giving something vulnerable, I don't think will usually support an elusive deck too much. Elusive decks are not wanting to even worry about the opponent's field if possible. So they're not going to be challenging any of their units. And the Overwhelm could be useful to just push through that little bit of extra damage that's needed. But again, the Longtooth only has 1 health, so it's very easy that it could get Vile Feasted or something similar. So not quite sure how I feel about Fizz's level up and actually getting a Chum the Waters. It is great card advantage. You are getting a free spell, especially late game. So if you are playing a 1-cost deck that is expending your hand pretty early, this will at least give you some sort of hand back in some sort of aggro deck. So very curious to see if he gets played. I know he will, and boy, does he look like a fun champion. All right, everybody, and that is it. We got Fizz down and out, and we got a lot more champions to go over. So the videos are going to start rolling this week. So very excited to get into the other champions that were revealed over the weekend. So until those next videos, remember, hit the like button. If you like this video, definitely check out the next one. My name is Shit Just Works. Stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.